Violence is the opposite of love. If that,
I suppose that's right.
what now?
I said I suppose
It
that's
could
right.
be verbally violated.
You suppose. You suppose. It is. It's the opposite. What does the opposite of love look like? What now? Okay, what's violence? Did you work it out?
Causing bodily harm to another person is a form of violence.
Okay, that would be physical violence.
You can chop them up verbally too.
Okay, what's the bottom line? It does what?
Does harm.
Does harm in some
Yeah.
way.
And
Like
destruction.
you intend to.
Okay, it does harm and destruction by how?
By force.
Something of harm.
By force.
Yeah.
It crosses the natural boundaries that you would have within yourselves. And someone forces their way. Rape is an act of violence. It crosses the boundary and forces. There are all sorts of forms of violence. The earth was filled with violence. People cross boundaries all the time on the highway. They force themselves into situations. And sometimes it is violent on the highway because of that. We force our thinking on others, our ways. It was violent, filled with violence. There's a complete disrespect for others. It's not considering others. It's about what I want, and I grab and I get it, and I'll do whatever I have to. God looked at the earth and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way upon the earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, and the earth is filled with violence because of them, and behold, I'm about to destroy them. The earth. In the passage prior, it talks about how God's heart was grieved. And in verse 8 it says that Noah alone found favor or grace in the eyes of God. Because he was ready to wipe everything out. Now, let's think about it. I mean, God's God. God knows everything, right? Why did he make the earth and then wipe it all out? I mean, he knew this was going to happen. It's not like he created some big Etch-a-Sketch and he didn't like the way it went. So let's erase and start over again. Or he made why is he doing this? Why did he create everything and then wipe out everything and just save Noah and several others? Why did he do this? Do you have any ideas? I believe he did it for you and for me as an example. This happened, and it's going to happen again. Not through water, but it is going to happen again through fire. I think he's just telling us this is going to happen. And we need to be ready. As it was in the days of Noah, so it shall be at the coming of the Son of Man. And he's not only going to destroy people, he's going to destroy everything that has the breath of life in it. He says, Make for yourselves an ark of gopher wood. You shall make the ark with rooms, and shall cover it inside and out with pitch. What's pitch? Yeah,
Sealer.
a sealer of some sort. It's supposed to seal the inside, seal the outside. Seal it all. Just try to. When do you seal it? I mean, this is a 150-year project. I guess you seal it toward the end.
Yeah.
I think God gave him some wisdom on what to exactly seal it. I mean, the sealer, if you seal it the front end over about 120 years, I don't think it's gonna lose its seal qualities, I think. This is how you shall make it. The length of the ark, 300 cubits. How long is that?
My Bible says 400 feet.
All right, all right. 450 feet. Just think about it. 450 feet. 300 feet's a football field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a 1.5 football fields in length. This is a big boy. This is a big project. And okay, 450 feet in length. Its breadth is 50 cubits, which is
75 feet long.
75 feet wide. 75 feet wide. And its height, 30 cubits.
45 feet high.
45 feet, that's up there. You shall make a window for the ark and finish it to a cubit from the top, which is how long?
18 inches.
There you go, 18 inches. See, it was exact. Got about 18 inches from the top, put this door. Set the door of the ark in the inside of it, and you shall make it with a lower, second, and third decks. I mean, this is a project, isn't it? All these decks in there, and these rooms in these decks. Behold, I am bringing the flood of water upon the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of life from under heaven. Everything that is on the earth shall perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. So imagine they had their quarters somehow within this ark also. And of every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark to keep them alive with you, and they shall be male and female. Of the birds after their kind, of the animals after their kind, and every creeping thing of the ground after its kind. Every creeping thing of the ground. I'm just kind of what are all the creeping things of the ground? Anyway, they all had to live in peace. They all had to live in peace.
Yep.
In this, I think God talked to them, and they cooperated in a miraculous way. I think they probably did, or else it would have been chaos. 1 year in this place. He got to know these animals. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. God put a little, just like he tells the birds, it's time to fly south. Tells the birds it's time to fly north. He's telling these birds it's time to go into that ark. He's telling the hyenas it's time to go into the ark. He's telling the raccoons, or whatever they are, it's time to go, and they just go in. This is a miraculous thing. 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them, for you to keep them alive. As for you, take for yourself some of all food which is edible, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. Thus Noah did according to all that God had commanded him, so he did.
Amen.
And you can imagine on this ark, if the rabbits are multiplying, you're going to have rabbit stew night. I think we have. You know, they will, there's gonna, I mean, they're gonna,
They didn't eat meat till after the flood.
Yeah, they didn't eat meat.
no, that's correct. That's right. They didn't eat meat. I stand
So
corrected.
maybe they fed the bunnies to the lions.
I don't know.
They didn't eat.
No, they didn't
Nothing
eat meat
ate
either.
meat
Nothing ate meat until after the flood.
The flood.
Wow.
Yeah.
They all
I
ate.
stand corrected.
Yeah, they
And
all
that's
ate.
an interesting distinction.
Not on grain.
And it also says that the fear of man will be in the animals. We talked about that
Yeah,
after the
the fear of
flood.
man, yeah, they were
After
not,
the flood.
yeah, they weren't afraid of men.
It's kind of, and also, one of the first commands was told Noah after the flood. Remember what that was?
Eat meat.
That if flesh would kill flesh, that person will get killed. God brought in capital punishment at that point. That was the first time. Then the Lord said to Noah, enter the ark, you and all your household, for you alone I have seen to be righteous before me in this time. You shall take with you of every clean animal by sevens, a male and his female, and of the animals that are not clean, two, a male and his female, also the birds of the sky by sevens, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the land every living thing that I have made. Noah did according to all the Lord had commanded him. It's 40 days and 40 nights. Just interesting wording. I guess I wouldn't assume that once the sun goes down, the rain stops. I think it's constant. I think it's sort of, the way it's worded there, it's like, this is a constant that's coming down. 40 days, 40 nights.
Well, it didn't rain before then either, did it?
No, that's the first time it rained.
So, right.
First time it rained from the sky, but God said that he also,
Opened up
the flood waters from underneath the earth he brought
Yeah.
up at the same time when it started to rain. So all it took was 40 days and then the spigot got turned off. So it was a little over a month. And then for the majority of the time, they were just floating until it came to rest, and then on Mount Ararat, and then I think it was about 4 months there where they waited after that. After they rested. Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood water came upon the earth. Then Noah and his sons and wives and his sons' wives with him entered the ark because of the water of the flood. The clean animals and animals that are not clean, birds and everything that creeps on the ground, there went into the ark to Noah by twos, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. It came about after the 7 days that the water of the flood came upon the earth in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, February, on the 17th day of the month, on the same day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the floodgates of the sky were open, and the rain fell upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the son of Noah, and Noah's wives, and the 3 wives and his sons with them, entered the ark, they and every beast after its kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, all sorts of birds. So they went into the ark to Noah by twos of all flesh, in which was the breath of life. Can you imagine this? They just coming. Yeah, take the back room. I mean, what do you, I guess I don't know.
They must have just all.
They just
found
went
their
to the
way.
right rooms? I mean, I don't know how it all worked. When you're following God's command and plan, it works. Life works. Those who entered, male and female of all flesh entered as God had commanded him, and the Lord closed it behind him. The Lord closed the door. Then the flood came upon the earth for 40 days, and the water increased and lifted up the ark so that it rose above the earth. The water prevailed and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. The water prevailed more and more upon the earth, so that all the high mountains everywhere under the heavens were covered. The water prevailed 15 cubits higher, and the mountains were all covered. So it was 15 cubits above all the mountains. All flesh that moved in the earth perished, birds and cattle and beasts and every swarming thing that swarms upon the earth, and all mankind, of all that was on the dry land, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life died. Thus he blotted out every living thing that was upon the face of the land, from man to animals to creeping things and the birds of the sky, and they were blotted out from the earth, and only Noah was left together with those that were with him in the ark. The water prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Five-ish months. Right? So, it's February, March, April, May, June. February. Yeah, March, April, May, July. We're in July now. But God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark, and God caused a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. Also the fountains of the deep and the floodgates of the sky were closed, and the rain from the sky was restrained, and the water receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of 150 days the water decreased. Okay, that's another 5. That's another so many months, right? In the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat. The water decreased steadily until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. That's October, right? Then it came upon at the end of the 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. It appears by that statement it was closed until then. Is that right? He makes a big deal that...
Well, that's at the end of the 40 days, he opens it, yeah. Because it's raining in the
Yeah.
40 days.
At the end of the 40 days, when it came out at the end of the 40 days, he opened it. For 40 days, man.
But if he would have
A
opened
month
it,
and 10 days, man. How was it in there?
maybe God took care of the smell too.
How was it in there? Let's just think about it. What would you use for light?
Well, they had carrot, oil?
Would you want to put oil lamp in there?
Not
Do
really.
you want smoke going to go into that thing and you can't breathe anymore? How was it in that thing? I don't know. There are certain things I don't have a clue. It was as dark as all get out.
Oil lamp.
I'm here in the bottom of this Bible.
I can't. I don't have my glasses. I can't read.
A window was cut all the way around the ark under the roof line for light and ventilation. The door allowed an entrance for embarkation and debarkation. 3 stories were to separate animals for safety and cooperation during the voyage.
Okay. How does that person know that that was cut like that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just in the
I
bottom
think
line.
that's just an explanation, so.
It's just a
Yeah,
commentary.
yeah, it's a commentary.
That would help.
Well, they didn't, they're calling it a window, but I don't know if that's what it was. But it was an opening, they're saying, all the way around the ark under the roof line.
Yeah,
Roof line for light and ventilation.
I think there's lots of things that that are left out of this story here.
Those little details, the story.
Well, I think there's a lot of details that we don't know. Something took place there.
The gory details we probably don't want to know.
He about
How bad it smells.
the end of the 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark and he sent a raven that flew here and there until the water was dried up upon the earth.
No, it didn't.
Then he sent out a dove from him. Okay, it sounds like he sent that raven out multiple times. And it went here and there, and then finally, until it was dried up on earth, that's when the raven. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water was was abated from the face of the land, but the dove found no resting place for the sole of her foot. Never considered doves having feet, but anyway. So she returned to him into the ark, but the water was on the surface of the earth. Then he put out his hand and took her and brought her into the ark to himself. So he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent out the dove from the ark. The dove came to him toward evening. Behold, in her beak was a freshly picked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the water was abated from the earth. And he waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, but she did not return to him again. And now he came upon him the 600th in the first year, in the first month, on the first of the month, the water was dried up from the earth. Then Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the surface of the ground was dried up. There was some covering that they looked. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, finally, one full year, went back to February again. The earth was dry. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may breed abundantly on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, and everything that moves on the earth went out by their families from the ark. And Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took every clean animal out of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Okay. So evidently they multiplied in there, and he offered them to the Lord. The Lord smelled the soothing aroma. The Lord said to himself, I will never again curse the ground on account of man. For the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and I will never again destroy every living thing as I have done. The intent of man's heart is evil from his youth. Is there anything that you and I do that's absolutely pure? Is there anything that you and I do that is 100% pure? According to God, the intentions of our heart are evil. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold, heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Noah found grace. We need to find grace. How are we going to get through tough times? We need to find grace. We need to find... And what is grace? God's unmerited favor, His unmerited love. What's the enemy of grace? Religion. Pride. God gives grace. God's opposed to the proud, but He gives grace to the humble. Gives grace to the humble. It appears that in the end of days, there's going to be the pride levels going up. People aren't very flexible. People are into what they want to do. People are into being right. Into their own stuff. What I like about this with Paul, by the grace of God I am what I am, and His grace to me was not without effect. No, I worked harder than all of them, yet not I, but the grace of God was with me. How many, when you have grace, when I have grace, I have ability beyond myself. person doing the same job, if they don't have grace for it, it's a pain. It's a pain. If you have grace, it's not as difficult. Life isn't as difficult. We need to find grace. That's when my life changed, when I knew that God just loved me. That's when my life changed. And his face was shining. Do you have grace? If not, it's about you making your own life. It's about you striving, trying, but never finding. You're working. You're constantly looking. You're not settled. You found grace in God's eyes. We find grace in God's eyes through Jesus. That's how we find grace. Notice the first thing that Noah did on the earth is, what did he do? And what did he do on that altar? He killed some animals. Blood flowed.
Amen.
That's how we get grace, is when Jesus' blood flowed. And Noah knew that he could never please God on his own. Noah knew that in his own strength, it was inadequate. He was a worshiper. He trusted. He knew that in order for God to spare his life, some other life needed to be taken. Because there was just no way. Find grace. Find grace. Clothe yourselves with humility towards one another. For God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. You don't earn grace. Some of us are trying to earn it. But you know what? After we get grace, we want to serve God out of gratitude. We don't serve God so that he'll like us. It'll never work. We'll never be able to serve him enough for him to like us. We serve God out of gratitude then. We serve God out of this heart that says, I want